Okay, leave. Right, we're back. So that was just a quick true. Right, so that's just a quick little tester of do we know our coordinates, and most of us do, which is really good. Right, so if we know our coordinates, that means we're off to a good start. So just to recap very quickly, right? So back to understanding this, just to recap very quickly. If we have a thing like this, on this axis we have the x-axis, and on this axis we have the y-axis. And here we have the positive zone, and anything this way is negative, negative y. Anything this way is positive y, and the same thing happens for negative x, and we should probably go over here. Oh, let's do it over here. We've got negative x in this direction and positive x in this direction. Okay, majestic graph. Thank you. Right, can you please complete this pattern here, right? Or have a look at this thing over here. Now, if you're on my Google Classroom, you'll see it already. But let's very quickly set this up. Let's go like this. Thank you. Right, it's not pretty, but it'll do. So in this we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the pattern number, right? So we start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thanks, guys. And we go through. If you're not part of my Google Classroom, you won't be able to see this, but you can see it on stream, so it's fine. I'm not just going to hand out my Google Classroom code. So let's have a look at this. I need you guys to focus now. Focus. So we've got the outputs along the bottom. So you can see that the inputs, or the pattern number, is along here, and the outputs are along here, right? So we've got, what's our pattern? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now my question to you is, what is going on? How would you describe this pattern? What's going on in this pattern? What is going on, particularly this part here? What is going on there, please? I got some good comments in there. Kelpie's onto it. We got a +2 and a ×2 in the chat, right? You're both kind of right. Right? The ×2 is probably referring to the relationship between the numbers this way. But what I saw someone say, which is what I want to focus on, is between each of these you have +2 each time, right? So the +2 is what we're going to call our step, right? So let's describe the step. Step going up by 2 each time, or each step, right? And if we've got a step, there's one other piece of information that we need to think about, and I want you to tell me what is the starting point. Because if we can tell anyone what the starting point is and the step, we could describe the pattern in two simple ways: a starting point and a step. So what is the starting point, please? What is the starting point? I'll wait for the chat. What is the starting point of this pattern? Good. We've got a lot of correct answers. Our starting point, oops, it's wrong color, I wanted blue, is here, 0. Right? Starting point is 0. Because you always start at 0. Right? If I start counting things, I start with nothing and then I get 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things. Right? Is this why it makes me say, yeah, Kelpie, you're onto it, mate. You're onto it. So we start with 0 and then you count. So our starting point is 0. And with these two bits of information, we could describe any pattern, right? I could say, starting at this number, go up in 5s. Or starting at this number, go down by 3 each step, right? And if we can do that, then we can describe any pattern. So can you please complete these 3 patterns here? These 3 here. I'll do it slowly, but you should definitely be ahead of me by now. So complete these 3 patterns. Pattern, number, complete the blanks, and you'll go from there. So let's have a look at, I'm going to do it down here. I'm just going to sketch it real quick. What I might do, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make this nice. So let's go like this. Thank you. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're gonna create a copy of this. We'll go like this too. There we go. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It gets so warm in my little study. Right. So let's have a look at this, right? In this first pattern here, I'm doing this one now. Pattern number, I'm doing this one. So we've got 3, 6, 9. Can you tell me what the next 2 numbers will be, please, in the chat? And then I'm also going to do, what is our step and what is our starting point? The next 3 numbers I'm just going to read from chat, should be there by now. 12, 15. Oh, there's only 2 numbers, right? The next 2 numbers. Good. Amon's on it. Right, so those next 2 numbers are there. And what is our step and what's our starting point? Our step and our starting point. Right, our step and our starting point. So our step is how much we're going up by each time. You can see we're going up by 3 each time. So our step is 3. And our starting point is always at 0, right? Our starting point in this case is 3 as well. So we're going up by 3 and we start at 3. And we're 12th on the science and tech page. Let's go. Right? And let's do the next one. Can you please complete all of these as quickly as you can? I've already got someone complete the whole lot. So I'm going to very quickly do these. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move all this up as well. And we've got 2, 5, and 8. So in this pattern where you can see it's going up by 3 each time. So this is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11. Now if it's going up 3 each time, then we'll go down 3 to move in the other direction. Am I right when I do this? Tell me if you don't think I'm right. You happy? Please tell me the step and the starting point. If you're new to Twitch, by the way, you can make a free Twitch account and then chat. So make a free Twitch account by just using an email address, and then you can make a free Twitch account. You can chat in the sidebar, and then I can answer your questions. Sheepy, we're going up by 3, good. So our step is +3, and I like how you put the plus. And our starting point is -4, and we can see that here. And we can see our step is going up by 3 each time. We good? Good. Let's look at this one. We're just going to slowly do all these questions. Oopsies. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got -4 here, minus 8, and minus 12. So our step, what's our, oops, it's wrong color. What is our step, please? And just like in life, you can have steps going upwards, and you can have steps going downwards. Either it's not 0 and 0. Oh, you're talking about 0 is going to be, maybe you're talking about the next part is 0. Right? So our step is minus 4, fantastic. So we're going down 4 each step, and if we did that to complete the table, we'll get 0, 0, which is probably what Iverney was talking about. And here we're going to have minus 16 and minus 20, which means our starting point in this case would be 0. So far so good. Mostly steps going downwards, as in the rest of the questions, or let me insert a page or two. No, what? Did you see what I just did? I put it there, and then it all moved there. There we go. Right. Let's do the next. Just 2 left. So we've got, in this case, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our 1 is 1, 2, 5. Our 1, 2, 6. Let's see, 1, 2, 8, 1, 2, 9. So we can complete this, right? 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 8, and 1, 2, 9. Okay. And that means if we went down to 0, this would be 1, 2, 4. So let's follow the same thing. What is our step? I want a step, and I want a starting point, please, from you guys. A step and a starting point. Good, I've got our starting point of 1, 2, 4. And someone's saying up 1. Good, plus 1. Right? And shark's ahead. But that's fine. You're allowed to get ahead. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Let's look at this. 2, 3, and 4. Right. So if we look at this, we can see. Please complete this pattern. I want you to tell me what numbers are going to go in this pattern. What's going to go here, here, and here, please. I want those 3 numbers. These 3 numbers here, please. I look buff. You can only see my head. Good, Jam. Here we go, here's some answers now. So we can see that it takes 2 patterns before we move up by 1, which means that we're going up by a half each time. I'll write it as half or 0.5. Okay? Which therefore our step is up by a half. Or you could also write it as plus 0.5, whichever you prefer. Right? And what's our starting point? Well, our starting point here is 1.5. Right, so far so good. Hopefully we're happy with that. Now, in maths, we want to make things as easy as possible and as general as possible. So, you can see here for each question we've done, we came up with a starting point and a step. Now, if only there was a equation that worked for every single situation like this, or if only there was a mathematical way to describe this relationship, right? If only there was. I'll tell you what, there actually is, right? Which is awesome. Now the sun is coming directly onto my iPad and it's hard to see. You see that? The sun? Straight there. Right. So I'm going to drop down here. We have a relationship that is known as y equals m x plus c, which I'm sure you've seen before, but I'll tell you what this means. Oopsies. Our m in this situation is just our step. So whatever we found for our step, we'll just write in place of m. And have a guess what c is going to be now. C represents our starting point. Okay. Thank you, Hamza. Right. Kelpie, good. Right. So C represents our starting point, whilst M represents our step. Which means we could go back through all of these. Let's choose a pretty color. We could go back through all of these and describe this. Turn this whole. See how we wrote 2 sentences or 2 like things to describe what's going on here? We could instead just write an equation. Y equals, and our step is 2. We put this x in here, and our starting point is 0. And we've got 2x plus 0. In fact, I'm going to use... Oh no, my razor was too big. I'm going to do it like this. Let's go starting point plus 0, and step is 2. So y equals 2x plus 0. Let's go through each of these and write it out. Okay? Y equals our step 3 and our starting point plus 3. So far so good. You are scholars. Y equals our step 3 and our starting point minus 4. And last couple, y equals our step, in this case minus 4, and our starting point plus 0. Are you seeing this pattern here? Right? This whole unit is about patterns. Y equals our step 1 and our starting point plus 124. And the last one, our step, which is a half, and our starting point plus 1.5. Exclamation fortnight to answer that question. So, can you see this this relationship for each of these? Have I made any mistakes? Right? So far so good. Okay? We've got all this, we know all this. Fantastic. Now, there's not too much else I want to cover, but let's have a look, right? So if we have a look at something special, if I just scroll back up here for a second into each of these, this pattern number we're going to call X, and this bottom part we're going to call Y. And this is really important. I'm going to highlight it for you guys, because now we're going to link in our knowledge of coordinates with our knowledge of patterns together now. So let's have a look at we had let's scroll down. Here's our thing here. Let me steal one from up here. Let's steal the first 2. So the first one we've got here, right? Copy that. And let's take it down here. Make it a bit smaller. Oh, it doesn't drop down the page, but that's okay. Right. You see that? So, we're going to draw this. And now remember, this part was the x and this part was the y. We're going to plot these dots, or these coordinates, on to this. So you can see here, we have sets of coordinates. Each one of these is a set of coordinates. Let me write out the first couple for you. We've got 0 and 0. Then we've got 1 and 2. And we've got 2 and 4. If we plot these as coordinates on this axis, let's see what happens. So we've got 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 4. Stop scrolling. 0, 0. Let's draw a little dot for 0, 0. What color do you guys want this graph to be? Let's go like a cyan. Is that cyan? 0, 0. Then we've got 1 on the x, 2 on the y. Then we've got 2 on the x, 4 on the y. And you could keep doing this. We've got 3, 6. Can you see that? 3, 6. Let's go 1, 2, 3, up 6. And we've got 4 and 8. And 5 and 10. And what do you notice about this? What do you guys notice about this? What do you notice that's special about all these dots here? Can we make sure we're on task, team? What do we notice about these dots? I've only good. It's a straight line, right? So we can see that all of this forms a straight line. It's a vertical line, it's a straight line. Good, we're noticing these things, right? And I could follow this on forever in that direction and forever in this direction, and you get a straight line. And this straight line is represented by the equation y equals whatever we had here, our step, which we said was 2x plus, and whatever our starting point was, 0. And you can see that there. That's essentially what I want us to understand. That's it. Okay? So very quickly to recap. We completed this table by putting numbers and following the pattern. We then learned that we can give one an x, one a y, and substitute it in and draw it on a graph. That's what we've just done now. Are we so far not too bad? People feeling alright? Not too bad. So, let's recap and then I'll leave you some homework. Okay? The first thing we did, we looked at coordinates and axes. Okay? We're almost done. We looked at coordinates and axes. So coordinates x and y, which you guys did on the Kahoot, and axes we have, oh that's gross, we have an x and a y. So secondly, we analyzed a linear pattern and we pulled out the step and the starting point. The step and the starting point. Stay focused, guys. Stay focused. Right, step and the starting point. So, when we had this here, we talked about the step and the starting point. The last thing we did, we then formed equation using these two things. Right? We formed the equation. If you ask stupid question, I'm just not going to answer them, mate. We formed an equation using this, and the last thing we did, we plotted chords from a table, and it formed a straight line. Okay. So far so good, right? That's probably enough for now. Right, I'm just going to ban this guy. How do I time him out? There we go. Right. So, what we've got here is the 4 things we covered. Now I need you guys to make sure you understand these 4 things. Right? Coordinates and axes, we did the Kahoot. Then we analyzed the linear pattern. We formed an equation. And we plotted the coordinates from a table. That's a lot in one little quick lesson. Right? But if you can process this, I'll send some homework either today or tomorrow on practicing this, and tomorrow we'll look at this in a little bit more detail, how to get equations from tables and drawing them. Okay? We can use this maths in the real world. You will use linear graphs all the time in the real world. But the most important time is probably to get a degree. And people who have degrees tend to get paid more, and people that get paid more can live more comfortably. So that's probably what you want to do. Okay? Rainbow. I know you would have done this last year, right? You would have had a good teacher last year that pushed you. Or it's just a recap, it's just a starter. It'll get harder and harder. But the main thing is that you understand this link between the pattern and the equation and the dotted line. We're good? Right, that's it. That's all I wanted to cover. Okay? That's all I wanted to cover. I'll put some homework or some work to do on Google Classroom. It might be Education Perfect work, or it might be just a little worksheet. Okay? Thank you, G Mr. Was that Muhammad? I knew him my year 10. It'll be on my Google Classroom, my personal Google Classroom. Rich get richer. See you, Brian. Thanks, Hamza. If you don't have a Google Classroom, I don't know, I might put a link on this stream or something like that. But we shall see. Thanks for tuning in. There's way more people than I actually expected. Right. Other thing. 2 things. Firstly, this will be happening every day at 1 for you guys for the next 3 days. Right? Today, tomorrow, and the next day. If you're in my class, I really, really want to make sure you're tuning in. Right? I'm super impressed. I love my year 11s, and I'm confident that you guys, if you tune in, you can get ahead. Right? Second thing, if you found this useful, please tell others. Tell others to come join. Tell them to come and participate. And let's keep the questions on task so that I don't have to keep clicking over and banning people and doing crap like that. Right? All good? Jan, what's up? What about you, year 10s? Um, just keep coming back. You'll be fine. So if you guys are the year 10 Accelerate class, just keep coming back to the stream 1 o'clock every day, and it'll be here. All the work will be, we'll go through all the work anyway. And if you want to get ahead, you can just access the Google Classroom, access your own Education Perfect, and you'll find stuff on there to do. Right? Every day till Friday. Every day till Friday. How have you not heard what I was just saying? Every day till Friday. Rainbow knows what's good. Right, that's it. We've covered everything. 40 minutes. Or 45 minutes. We might start with another Kahoot yesterday, tomorrow. That was pretty successful. And if you've got no questions, that's us done. Easy. 45 minutes. Sweet. All good. Thanks for tuning in, guys. My year 11s, trusty. Thanks for coming. I know it was easy. I know it was straightforward. But let's look at some harder problems soon. But if you found this easy, that's good. It means you can relax, breathe, and work hard for the next 3 days before your holidays. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the follows. We had like 10 new followers. Awesome. Heaps of viewers too. Thank you so much. We were number 12 today, I think, on the science. Right, Afro, thank you. Thank you guys later. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.